helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one you had envisioned for yourself. Sorry. Oh, as soon as I hit record, my ding nose, or as soon as it went live, I should say, my nose started to itch because why not? Ha ha ha. But lighten up. My brothers used to always quote Stripes to me. Lighten up. Wasn't it Stripes? Lighten up, Francis. I heard that a lot growing up. And it's kind of funny because I didn't realize until a few years ago. This is so embarrassing to admit, but I didn't realize what a complete stress case I really am. And things came to a very severe head 3 years ago, I think. I think it's been 3 years. It might be four, but I think it's 3 years. But anyway, um, my doctor had referred me elsewhere, and that doctor did this really interesting hormone panel. I mean, I'd never had a test like that before, um, but I was I was a complete mess. And I'm sitting in his office and we're going over the results and I'm just sobbing. And he told me point blank, he said, I've seen hormone levels this low, but I've never seen all the hormone levels this low. And he told me point blank, I have no idea how you're functioning. Well, what the hell else am I gonna? I don't have any choice. What else do? You got to go on. You've got to pull yourself together. I have a job. I've got a home to take care of. Okay, I'm not the best housekeeper, but I do have a home to take care of. I got things to do. But having this conversation, and he's telling me, you've got to lighten up. You've got to lighten up on yourself. You've got to lighten your burden physically. You've got to lighten your burden emotionally. You've got to lighten your burden spiritually. And what he meant by physically was I used to be really into a freaking fun workout called Turbo Kick. It's cardio kickboxing with some dance thrown in. I fell in love with it years ago. And it's always been my go-to. And it's always been, I love it so much, no matter how crappy I was feeling. By gosh, I could do Turbo Kick. Well, then they tell me you can't do that anymore. Why? Because my hormones, specifically my adrenals, were in such bad shape that I was depleting myself more than I was capable of recovering from. So I had to figure out how to lighten the hell up. I got to tell you, it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So when this all started, I realized I had a lot of unresolved emotional stuff that I just packed down, tried to pretend that, it never happened. I had a really hard time. I still struggle with expressing myself. I'm either Miss Go Along to get along, or I finally get tired of your stuff and I lose my shit and I just have a complete fit on somebody. I don't do that often. Thank goodness. I hate doing that. And I don't care how valid your points are. When you lose control of your emotions like that, you're not coming out ahead in any conflict. But I have a hard time expressing myself. I do have a lot of unresolved emotional crap because we all do, but I never had a lot of self-esteem, and I've always struggled with relationships. And I mean, all the way from friends to family, I've always struggled with relationships because I've never felt like I fit in anywhere. And to be honest, I really thought for a long time that I was just broken. And I've been working on myself for a few years. I had a couple of experiences this spring through work that really opened my eyes to just how terribly skewed my self-perception is. One thing that really opened my eyes, the first thing, I was invited to be I work for a large organization, and one of the very higher up. Anyway, one of the people way up above the ladder from me hosts an invite only, or I shouldn't say invite, and you have to apply to be involved in it. It's a leadership class, and it goes once a month. We met once a month for 9 months. It was an amazing experience, and it was really intimidating because I'm in a room full of people I think there was one person in there that had a master's. Everyone else had PhDs, or there was lawyers, and it was just crazy. And then there's little old me in there. And I was really intimidated but I held my own and I earned the respect of almost every person in that room because of the ideas that I brought to the table, because of the way I expressed myself. And then the second thing was also work related. I sit on an advisory board. I cannot say that slow, let alone fast. And as part of my work with the advisory board, I chair a lot of subcommittees, not a lot, excuse me, a couple. And one of them I'm on because they needed a body, and I'm like, okay, I don't mind learning this aspect of it. But the other one I'm on because it's something I'm really, really passionate about, because we have a lot of outlying offices. Well, in Alaska, when you're outlying office, you're really outlying. You're living a pretty stark life. I mean, it's a village is certainly more comfortable than being right out in the bush, but it's not like living in town. And I'm really passionate about trying to connect those people with the larger organization. And I had a couple of things that I initiated that were big hits. And I got a thank you letter from the president and vice president of this advisory committee, thanking me for my leadership and my advocacy for these remote people. And it was really beautiful. And I had to sit back like, okay, I definitely need to lighten up on my self perception, because I always see myself as just trying to keep up, and like I could do better, but I never seem to be able to do better. And you'll either get that or you won't. That's I don't know how else to explain it. But I found over the past couple of years, and certainly the last couple of months, all this crap that I've tried to bury and pretend that, and not so much that didn't happen, but I just didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to process it. Well, guess what? That has completely destroyed I shouldn't laugh, but it has. It's destroyed my health. My health completely sucks. I'm not that freaking old. I should be, and I've been dealing with this stuff for a long time. I should be a lot healthier than this. And this is all self freaking inflicted. So I got to fix it. How do you fix it? I started learning about emotions, and I had to come to terms with the fact that my approach to things, which is head on, tackle it as hard as I can, it's not always the best method. And I had to give up. I had to learn to find turbo kick. Seriously, it's impossible to explain. It was my soulmate workout. It was the one thing that I just always hung my hat on. It meant a lot to me because it was the thing that I fell in love with. I have no idea how I don't even know how it came to my attention. But somehow I fell head over heels in love with this workout. And I got so determined to do it. When I first started trying to do this, I could barely do 10 minutes on a Wii Fit. I couldn't even walk a quarter of a mile. So Turbo, which really, I went on to teach it many years ago. So Turbo has a huge, huge place in my heart and always will. But the doctor's like, oh, you need to stop that. But you've got to lower your stress. And how the hell am I going to do that? You just took away my stress outlet. But you know what? There are other wonderful things out there. And I tried, now I've dabbled in yoga, and I still do some yoga, not as much as I should. But you know what I found that's really worked for me? And it's so much better for my body. I can't even believe this. Belly dance. When it was first suggested to me, I was like, oh, come on, really? And I kind of dabbled with it. But then I tried a couple of different YouTube channels, and I found a couple people that I really liked. And I ended up falling so in love with one of them that I joined her Patreon because she's earned my money. But all that stuff, that the dancing, it really helps me express those pent up emotions. I know it sounds crazy, but I can work on myself. I can spend time with my Bible. That's important to me. I just totally lost my thought. I've learned, this has been hard, but I've learned how to really pay attention to my body's response to my emotions, because they're very connected. If you don't realize how intense the connection is, you've never had health issues. But, I really thought I knew what anxiety was until a couple years ago. That's when I realized that anxiety is my default. I could recognize what more anxiety, but something that was a really intimidating event that, that brought on a very different set of emotions. But my default for most of my life has been a high level of anxiety, which is just horrible. But you know what? I can't fix a problem I'm not aware of. And I have to lighten up if that's my default. So a lot of times I'll journal about my emotions. In fact, I haven't done this in a while. I need to journal about my emotions and go into the details of not just how does it feel on an emotional level, but how does it feel physically? What's the physical response I'm having to these? And like for me, stress and anxiety feel really heavy. My heart feels stress, my heart feels heavy. Anxiety, it races. I've gone through grief. It's really interesting when you start paying attention, because when you can pull apart the physical aspect of your emotions, it's a lot easier to fend off those. I don't want to call them negative emotions because they serve a purpose. You're just not supposed to get stuck in anxiety or stress. But when you can pay more attention to those physical symptoms, you're going to be able to catch this so quick, and you'll be able to head it off before it gets out of control. That's huge. And now I realize it's not easy. This has not been easy. I have a lifetime of bad habits to unlearn, a lifetime of just being so damned hard on myself. But I'm already seeing a lot of improvements. Dance allows me to express myself in a way I never would have even thought possible. I all you dancers, I get it now. I do get it now. I really wish I would have picked this up sooner. I think it could have made a big difference. But you know what? That's okay. I wasn't ready before. Belly dance has been so good for me, actually, that my doctor started recommending it to other chronic pain patients because it's been that beneficial. My Bible, it helps me focus on what's important. I've lived a pretty unexamined life until the last couple of years, so it's also helping me understand what's important to me and why a lot of these things matter to me. Journaling helps me see the impact of my emotions and my thoughts. And I like to take time at the end of the day. I write at the top of my journal page, pause and reflect, because it's easy to get to the end of the day and it's like, okay, and I didn't get this done, I didn't get that done. You already start your tomorrow's to-do list. You don't take time to step back and go, look at all the cool stuff I got done today. Look at all the wins I have in my corner today. So I try to do that in my journal as well. Journaling to me is the best form of cheap therapy you can get. Just get a cheap ass little notebook, keep it by your bed. Sorry, my nose is itchy apparently. I like to write in it at night just because it helps get everything off my chest. But a lot of people like to write in it in the morning, and it clears their mind for the day. The time I spend working on myself, it's helping me understand why I do a lot of the things that I do, and it's helping me figure out how I can navigate these things better and learn how to, if not, I don't want to say get past them, how to successfully live with some of this stuff, or how to cope with it better, or ideally how to outgrow a lot of it. That would be fantastic. But you know what? Positive influences are absolutely crucial. If you're trying to lighten the hell up, you cannot lighten up if you're hanging around with a bunch of negative people. And I used to really be into politics. I'm still kind of into it, but I used to be really into it. Like I had somebody ask me, like they really did. They didn't just ask me. They honestly asked me. Someone asked me years ago if I would be willing to do 20 minutes a week on their radio show. And the answer to that was no, because that's too much time for no money. That's a lot of research that goes into 20 minutes of talking. And I honestly, I just have too thin of a skin. I don't want to be in that world. It's too ugly. It's too nasty. Once I stopped being so involved with politics and started focusing more on finding positive influences, I'll tell you, a lot of my stress lightened up. But you got to have positive influences. And if you don't have any in your day-to-day life, and if you've been really negative for a while, you don't. Because happy people don't want to hang out with if you're a negative Nelly. They just don't. Go online. Find somebody's YouTube or podcast or Rumble or wherever the hell you want to, however you want to find them. But there are so many people out there offering excellent advice. There's people out there who are going to uplift you and they're going to inspire you. Go find them and listen to somebody positive for 10, 15 minutes every single day. You'll be amazed at what an impact that can have in a really short time. Oh, I don't have it in here. I'm reading a really good book by a guy named John C. Maxwell, and it's the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And I've been in this book now for like, oh my God, I keep saying that. I need to work on that. I've been in this book since about mid-April, and I was real stop and start at first. I'll own that. I've gotten so into it, and I've already filled a notebook, and I'm only halfway through the book. So that's been really exciting. And I met with my mentor Monday. Yeah, Monday. Whew, it's already been a week. I mean, a long week, not a week since Monday. But I met with him Monday, and even he could see a difference in the things that I've taken from this book and started to apply. And we meet every couple of weeks, so that was very gratifying and very cool. So that's all I have on that topic. And then I have kind of exciting news for those of you on my Twitter who follow my health issues. I have an appointment at a new clinic tomorrow, and I got to tell you, I'm nervous. But I'm excited. I'm hopeful. I'm realistic. I don't expect a hell of a lot, but I'm hopeful. But my clinic that I've been going to, I love my doctor. So this breaks my heart. I don't want to have to find, I want my doctor. I hate my freaking clinic. They have rescheduled me 3 out of my last 7 appointments. Now they bumped me a full month on having osteopathic manipulation done. Well, that hands-on therapy is really crucial to me, keeping me going. So they've made it impossible, because when they bumped me for that, for the OMM treatment, the July 21st was the first available. I can not even see my doctor. I'm just seeing their first available. So they're overbooked terribly. And then I have 2, I don't like taking pain meds, but I have 2 chronic pain conditions. And I'm not a martyr. I'm not going to sit here and suffer needlessly, because that doesn't do anything for anybody. But my clinic, they won't get me in. They can't get me in because they've got their doctors overworked. They can't get me in for the physical treatment that keeps me off the medicine. And then they act like I'm some kind of junkie that shuffled in off the street when I do ask for medicine. I got really mad at them in March because some lady made me, I think it was a nurse. I don't even know, to be honest. I probably gave information to someone who didn't need it, but I was so just taken aback. They made me defend taking 24 tramadol over 90 days. When I said something to the lady that I know at the pharmacy, because like I've said, I've been dealing with this health crap forever. So I know one of the girls at the pharmacy really well. And I was telling her, I can't believe how much crap they give me. And she's like, for tramadol? Yeah. And it just sucks, because I'm not allowed to be judged on my own merits, because other people abuse drugs. So that must mean I'm a drug abuser too, which, if you looked at my record, there's so many times when I told the clinic, no, I'm not taking that. I don't want it. Anyway. Oh, and the tiara. The tiara seemed perfect for a lighten up conversation. And I just got it in the mail today from a very dear friend. And I just think it's really cute and funny. And this is not my pajamas, but I did take a meeting this afternoon. I'm working very part-time this summer, and I had a meeting with it was a work meeting, but it was 2 women I'm really good friends with. So I wore my tiara and my pajamas to my meeting, and they both got a huge kick out of it. Hey, it doesn't matter. The work got done. That's all that matters. And if you've watched up till now, you're very patient, because I've talked a lot longer than I meant to, but I'm really damn good at my job. So if I want to show up in a freaking tiara and pajamas to a meeting, most people aren't going to give me a lot of crap about it. But anyway, I wouldn't to most meetings, because it's very unprofessional. But I knew these ladies would think it was funny, and they did. So I hope you'll have a great night. If you have any questions, not really an expert on lightening up, but I can help you find yoga on YouTube that can be really beneficial. I can help you find meditation. I can help you get started with journaling. Drop me a line. If there's anything you can think of, like if you're dealing with health issues specifically, I can really help you learn how to manage and navigate this with a little bit of grace and dignity. Because I got to tell y'all, if you haven't been there, there's no dignity in having health problems. None. Anyway, wish me luck at the doctor tomorrow. I hope y'all have a great night, and I will be back Friday at 5 o'clock Alaska time. Thanks. Bye.